Hey everybody, it's me, Alex Buriak, Senior Vice President here at Jet Lending, and I am going to go over the math of hard money loans. Why is this important for an investor? Well, if you're using hard money loans, or really any funding that's not just your cash, it's important to know how to structure your terms. And the reason why we're going through this is so you guys can go out and when you guys are negotiating properties that you're flipping or holding for rent, how can you calculate in real time how your holding costs and all that kind of stuff works so you can negotiate the deal better so you can understand your profits better. Okay. So when you are in this market, like HAR just released on December 14th, that there's about 2.9 months of inventory. Okay. So it's Jet, we feel that a 3 month inventory is a balanced market between the buyer and the seller, not a 6 month. So you're going to start seeing some abilities to negotiate better. Understanding these basic concepts that we're going to do with math in real time allows you can just have a pen and paper in somebody's kitchen and you can do the math and figure out your profits to see what can you offer to get the profits you need. Okay. So you guys can make better deals and understand this, and you understand your loan a little bit better. You understand how this stuff works. Okay, you'd be surprised when people are like, "Well, I just didn't know how my loan worked. I just needed it and got it." Don't do that. Okay, so I'm going to show you in real time some math. All right. So let's say that you bought this property. You're looking at this property, and you're going to buy it for 187. Okay, and you think that the property is going to be worth 362 fixed up. Okay, I'm just pulling numbers. Okay, for a house like that, you're most likely going to be in it for about 60 grand in rehab. Just looking at those numbers, something by that cheap. Let's say, yeah. And let's say a 362 value times 3.5% in taxes. That's 3.5. 362 times 3.5%. That puts you about probably around 12,670 in taxes. Okay. So those are your numbers you're working with. Now, on average today on a loan to value, not a loan to cost, but a loan to value lender, you're looking probably around 3 points of origination at 11.9% interest only payments. We don't do any penalties for payoff. So ask your lenders if there's prepayment penalties. We don't do prepayment penalties for the short-term stuff. So the loan to value stuff, you're usually at 3. Loan to cost stuff, you may be at 2 to 3. Your rates may be at 9, but you're coming out of pocket probably about 20% down. Okay, so there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with this. It's just two different ways of doing things. Okay, so let's say we're holding $60,000 in escrow for your repairs. That's so when you do work, we reimburse you for the work. All right, so let's take a look at this deal. 3% of your total loan at 70% loan to value is 253. We're going to fund 193.4 at closing. Okay. You got your origination, that's 3% of the 253, that's 7 grand. Your document fee for the attorneys. We always estimate that title charges you about 1.5 for their fees. We don't know until we get the HUD. Always ask your title company what they're going to charge you. We're going to give you an estimate. So that's not a Jet lending fee or usually a lender fee at all. But a good lender should tell you what they're going to be doing like at title, so you can calculate those funds. Your processing fee covers your flood search and stuff like that. On this deal, on this math, your closing costs are about $12,700, but you're coming to closing about $6,300, and this is why. Okay, when you're using loan to value lending, I can lend up to 70% of the after repaired value. Okay, that's 253.4, and I'm minus 60 to hold in escrow for your repairs. That puts me at 193.4 at closing. Well, you bought it for 187. So the difference between the 187 and the 193, I was able to cover some of that cost. Okay. So understanding these basic concept of the 70% minus repairs is going to be detrimental to how much you can pay for something at closing. So let's say it was a tough negotiation. Well, let's do the opposite first. Let me show you what you'd need to do to buy this at $0. So 180, if you bought it for 180, you can see that's green now. Okay. That green means you're coming out of pocket $0 at closing. So when you guys see you can come out of pocket with no money at closing, that's how you have to do it. You have to buy it at 70% minus repairs, okay, minus your closing costs. So about 180 allowed me to have enough spread to roll in all your costs. And this is where we're going to go. We're going to go into the profit margin section later and show how much money you could make. The opposite. Let's say this is a tough negotiation and you're like, you know what? I'm going to buy this at 200 grand even. Okay. You're coming out of pocket $19,000 for that property. Okay. So, because I'm funding 193.4, 70% of the after repaired value, the 362 minus the repairs, the 193.4. So if you bought it for 200, you have to come up with the difference between what I'm funding at closing and your closing costs. Okay, so that's how that works. So if you can just do the 70% minus repairs at closing and get your 193.4 while you're at the table, you have a good idea of how much you could buy something for. Normally, you'd like to be at around 65% of ARV minus repairs as your purchase price. They'll leave you that 5% margin for your profits. But that's how you can do really quick math on how loan to value lending works when you're negotiating, when you have to make a deal, you don't have time for us to comp something for you. You feel like you got like a tiger by the tail. You have to understand how this math works. So let's say we put it back at, let's say you bought it for 187. You're coming out of pocket $6,300, and now how much money could you make off that deal? Well, first let's put in the sales price. That was what, or the ARV. That was 362. So 362. All right. So right now you're going to gross, not net, but gross 96,000. But my important is you need the net. You need to figure out how much money can you make. Well, remember you paid $6,300 at closing. You got to pay yourself that back. Okay. Months in the loan. Right now, HAR reports that you're at about 43 days or something like that, average days on market. And that is as it's listed. Okay, so as an investor, don't just look on days on market like, oh, this area has a 30-day days on market. Well, you have to actually equate how long it's going to take you to rehab this property too. A good rule of thumb is about $7,500 a week. Okay. So that's with nothing going wrong. Okay. So let's say it was $60,000 divided by 7,500 puts you at 8 weeks, 2 months, 2 months of rehab, probably 2 months of rehab. And let's say 2 months of hold time, it puts you at 4 months. If everything went well. I mean, the permit office is working hard and everything like that. So how about this? We'll put this as a 6-month hold time. Okay. So that's why it's important to understand your terms, because you had to make monthly payments, interest-only payments to your lender. Well, you have to pay yourself back that money. Every dollar you spend, you have to pay yourself back. So you have to pay for utilities. There's people in there using electricity. You got to have the water on. You got to have the gas on. You have all these things on because you're rehabbing the property. So you have to pay for your utilities while you're in the property. So let's say this was a good-sized property. Let's say it's about $200 a month. Okay. Seller's agent commission. I'm going to put this at 6%. Why am I doing that? Because most likely you're going to at least spend 3%. And I know a lot of you guys are like, well, I'm an agent and I'm going to take 3% for myself. I always thought of an investor agent as a different business. That profit goes somewhere else. So if you're still taking the 3%, you're still paying for it, but you're just putting it somewhere else later. So I'm going to still put, yet you have to pay 6% fees. Okay. Your second closing costs, you got your title fees and things like that on your second closing costs when you sell the property. HOA, if you have an HOA in the area, this is very, very important to watch out for like if you're going to flip a condo or a townhouse, because those those monthly expenses can add up. But let's say there was a $50 HOA, that you have to pay. You remember, for 6 months, you got to pay yourself back that. Okay. Seller's contribution. I haven't seen a seller's contribution in a long time, but we are, we're in a stabilizing market. We're coming back. But let's say you didn't pay any agent or a seller's contributions to the property. But if you did, you need to calculate that in. So the question to you is, would you spend $6,358 at closing to net $52,000? And some of you are like, yeah, of course. Some of you aren't. Some of you are like, no, I don't get out of bed until like make 60 grand, whatever your business plan is. But I wanted to show you guys the math of how you calculate this stuff and how your lender lends. If you don't know how your lender lends, you can't calculate how much you can buy these properties. So if you're going straight loan to value lending, the best thing to do is to first calculate your after repaired value and be conservative. Don't use just the spikes in the market. What is this range doing? And look at the comps. Like when we do comps for you guys, we actually look at inside of each property and says, okay, well, yeah, this person can get a 362 ARV, but they're only doing 20 in repairs. We don't have any pictures of the inside of the current property. It's kind of hard for us to say that 20 can swing the bat. So when the appraisal comes back in, we look at it and say, oh, by the way, you're really in this for $40,000 or $60,000. But so be conservative on your repairs as well. Look at the finishes of the properties that were selling in the 360s and the 370s and the 380s. Make sure that you're going to do the same type of finishes. Don't get burned on trying to cut corners. Remember, there's only one variable that you can change. You can't change how much this property is going to be worth. You can't change how much it's going to cost to fix it up, but you can change how much you buy it for. Purchase price is the only variable that you can control and in your investment real estate in the beginning. Okay. So I was wanting to always give you guys the math. So how you can calculate what you need to buy things for to stay in business. And especially if you're going to hold things longer, you guys have to know how to do this really quickly. So I hope this was helpful. I hope it sparked ideas. We got some comments. I'm sorry here. Let's see. Can I offer about 350? Yeah, that's a bunch of just characters. But as always, like when we have these lives, you guys can chat, ask me questions, things like that. We're going to do a lot more of these. Always network with each other. But I hope this helped. I hope this sparked idea. Contact us, call us. You see the stuff scrolling around. Visit our website. You can chat us on every social media platform. We have a chat on our web page. They're answered by real people in the office. It's not like a person that lives somewhere else. Call us at 281-782-7800. You can text that number as well. Let us help you feel more secure and feel more taken care of in this market. We close within 3 days of clear to close from title and appraisal report, so don't have a lot of time for error. So we'd like to make sure that you're supported. We'd like to make sure that you have the knowledge to increase your inventory and increase your wealth. So again, we really hope this was educational for you. If you'd like to see a topic discussed on our live broadcast, let us know and we'll do it for you. We're very big on education here, so we want to make sure you guys get everything that you need to make yourself more successful in any market. Again, this is Alex Buriak, Senior Vice President, Jet Lending, and we'll talk again.